Welcome back to this Modifying Doom 3 Editor series. In this installment, we look at patch meshes and how to create straight and bent pipes. Please take a moment to subscribe to the channel as it really helps us to continue producing these videos. So stay right there as we dive in. So in the Doom 3 game, it actually constructs their pipes using patch meshes. The reason for this is that with patch meshes, we can subdivide their surfaces as well as easily manipulate their vertices. Sounds a bit technical, but it's pretty simple. And these are just some examples. Note the little flanges on the top and bottom. Oh, here, you know what we could do? We could do this. Everybody knows this little trick, but no clip. If we go that way, we can fly up here. Right, then just note the little flanges. It's a separate piece, but it's nice to add. And we'll also look at making these elbows. We'll look at a 90, but obviously the concept lends itself to 45s and 30s and whatever dimensions you want. So, all right, so how we do this? So let's just select this wall here, so it kind of gives us a reference to what we want to draw here for our brush. And we're going to go to our caulk texture, and we're going to draw out a brush. And I find for medium-sized brushes, dimensions of about 20 by 20 work well. So let's go to a smaller grid here, 20 by 20. There it is there. Let's hide everything except that brush. Okay, and let's go to the top here so we can see what's going on. Okay, there we are, and we're in the top view with XYZ window. So first thing we want to do is go up here, patch, cylinder, click on that, and basically that's it. I mean, we use a patch mesh, if you remember from, I think it was the cabinet video. A patch mesh is just kind of a special brush, and that it has a height and a width, but for all intents and purposes has zero thickness. And it does only render on one side, so it does look like this. So there we have that, and we're going to attach just a good old pipe texture. Now I dug around a little bit in the texture or the media folders, and I'm not going to do it now, but some of these nice pipe textures we can find in textures, and if we go down to, where are we here? Mars City, there's a few in here. Just look for pipes. And then also there's a few, the ones I'm using here in, let's see here, Object. And then down here there's a bunch of pipes you can use there too. I'm not going to get into too much. Okay, so there we have our brush. And then we want to go to textures and then select this nice yellow one that I like. Now we have to adjust the size of that. We can see it doesn't fit. Okay, so just our S for surface inspector, and we'll just go fit. Okay, there we go. So that's nice. And that's really about it, other than the flanges. Okay, now one thing we should look is the subdividing, so I did mention that. Okay, so if we click on our 8-sided brush, and we had our surface inspector, we look down here and we can see subdivide patch, and this is why we use patch meshes. So if we click on that, we can see that if we adjust these horizontals and verticals, and just look in the render map, you can see what's happening here. Now we can take that tube and make it ultra smooth by subdividing it by 20 to 32, I guess is the maximum, but that's a lot of polygons for the engine to render. And in id for Doom 3 they look like they keep it at about 3, so about 8-sided seems to work nice. So I would just keep that on 3, and the vertical we don't need that many, not for our straight for our straight pipes. So let's take that back to 3, and I think this could be 3. It's kind of arbitrary. We could even go 1 there, but that's fine. So okay, we've got our vertical pipe in, just that easy. Now what we want to do is create those little flanges. So I actually found this in the decals. You'll have to dig around in here in the media file under the decals to find it. There's just too many for me to go through, and I don't want to burn up video time on that. So for this 20 diameter tube, a good size for that little flange is 28 by 28. So let's do 28 by 28. There we go. It's just a big brush right now. We should go over to our caulk texture. That's just the way I like to work. And we can just make that a little bit not so long. And then let's turn that guy into a patch mesh as well. So we'll go patch, simple patch mesh, 3 by 3. It's fine. Okay, so there it is. Now we have to orientate it the way we want to. So we want to flip it. Just go up here. Never get this right. No, not going to get that right. Undo. Why? Nope, not the y-axis. X-axis, of course. There we go. And top view, we're going to go to that 24 by 24. Sometimes when you convert it to a patch mesh, it does go a little wonky with respect to the size. Okay, so there's our patch mesh. Let's have a look at that in our render window. There it is. And we're going to select that, that little flange end cap piece there. Perfect. XYZ window, right click, surface inspector, and we want that to fit. So we just hit fit. There we go, fits nice, okay. We're gonna select that, we're gonna center it in our new pipe. Okay, there it is. And of course we're gonna put it down on the floor. Now something important here, these decals really have to be only 1 unit, so make sure you got your grid selection to 1. Put that guy down to just 1 unit above the floor. Can I get him? Kind of hard to grab because they're so thin. And let's just have a look at that with relation to the floor. So let's hide everything except the patch on the floor. And we're good. Let's bring back our pipe. And we got to center that thing. So let's do this. Yeah, it could be the pipe or the patch mesh. There we go. Done. Now, like I said, this patch mesh has to be 1 unit. I'm going to put it even with the floor and show you the concept of Z fighting. It's really easy to show, and we'll just do that. So we'll put it on the same surface as the Z. And when we render it and look at it, you'll see what the effect that it has. So let's just clone that guy, bring him up. Let's grab this. Let's hide everything except this newest one that we just did and our pipe. And let's move this guy up. Now we have to flip them obviously, so let's do that right now. X, I think. Yes, thank you. And we're still centered. Okay, we're good. So let's move this guy up to the top. Come on. It's hard to grab because it's so bloody thin. There we go. Okay, let's go up. Yeah, just bring that guy up there. Got a little ways to go when we're in 1. Oh, I could do this. Go 3. Okay, and bring her up. There we go. Let's go grid 1 again. Bring it up just 1 unit away from the surface. You can see the surface is here in 1. Check our render window. It looks good. Centered. Nice. Okay, so let's show everything. Let's back up a little bit. Okay, it looks good. And we've left this bottom one even with the floor. Let's see if we can't show that real quick. If we go to the side view. Can't even see the patch mesh. Let's highlight it. There we go. Okay, we can barely see it, but you get the drift. It's right on the floor, and that's a mistake. You want it 1 unit up, but I want to show what Z fighting looks like. So let's show everything. We're going to hit save. Let's compile. BSP. Okay. Annoying pop-up. Go into the map. Map 1. There we go. And we can see our first pipe. Okay, there we go. It's a little dark on this side because of the lighting. Okay, so we can see our flange up there is nice. Let's go no clip and show that. Whoops. No clip on. See, we can see the flange. Could probably make that flange a little bit bigger. These ones look nicer. Yeah, we'll make that a little bit bigger. We didn't quite get the size right. But we see we get this phenomenon here of Z fighting if we have it right on the floor, and we don't want that. That's it's called Z fighting because it's fighting on the Z axis, and oddly enough in Fallout 4, the finished game, you see a lot of that. It really bugs me. Okay, so let's just fix the size of those two guys real quick. And actually, let's adjust this guy first. So select him, bring him up 1 unit. Select that, the pipe, and the top one. There we go. Hide everything. There we go. Let's select this top guy. And it's supposed to be 28 by 28. I think somehow we adjusted it. Yeah, 24 by 24. So we'll go 28 by 28. Let's center it. There we go. Let's select that bottom one. 28 by 28. Whoops. There we go. Can you guys hear the coffee percolating in the background? I got a nice fresh pot of coffee on. Okay, let's show everything. Let's save. Let's compile. BSP. There we go. Back into the map, F2. Title. Up key. Get to M1. There we go. Okay, here she comes. Let's put the flashlight on. It's just because the light's hitting it funny, so it's just creating a shadow here. So let's go on this side. And there we go. Our flange is nice. top and bottom. And that's it for pipes. Pretty simple. All right, let's have a look at how to make these elbows. All right, so let's have a look at making these little elbow bends here, 90-degree ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by grabbing that brush there, and I'm going to clone it. In fact, I'm going to clone it. Well, hang on, let me resize it. Real quick, I don't know what size we should make it. Because I don't want to mess around right now with making the texture fit and all the rest of it, I'm going to jump in here real quick and just put a caulk texture on there. And I'm going to clone that guy 3 times. Let's get him out here. Grab this one if we can grab it. There. Let's grab these 3 real quick. Selection, if you remember how to do this, I showed you how to do this. Select everything inside. Let's hide everything except those 3 things. Okay, there we are. Okay, so we're going to bend this one, and that's in a good orientation. And for a pipe with a diameter of 20, if you remember we drew that brush 20 by 20 by, arbitrary length, that height should basically be 20. Okay, so let's go down in grid. We'll make that height 20. There we are. Okay, 20 by 20. Perfect. Let's take this guy and let's shift him 90 degrees. Let's see if I can get this right. 90. Nope. I never get this right, guys. One of these days I'm going to figure this out. Okay, there we go. 90 degrees. So same one as this one, but just shifted 90 degrees. And this one's good the way it is. Why I'm using these guys is just as a guide, and it really does help. And rarely do you have just an elbow. You usually have an elbow plus, pieces on either side of it, right? Okay. Now what I like to do is I just want to draw a reference brush. And this is only because I don't want to be counting all these little grids all the time. So I'm just going to draw a reference brush of 26 by 26. You'll see what I'm getting at here. This reference brush is not going to be in the finished product, but okay, 26 by 26. And just try to follow the positioning here because this makes it really easy. So I'm going to put that reference brush right over what we're going to bend. Deselect that. I'm going to take this guy and put him there. And this guy is good where he is, right? Yeah. He can actually be butted up against that. Okay, I'm going to lose that reference brush. And you just want this orientation because this makes the next step super easy. You don't need to have this reference brush. You can do it by eye. Just, you have to count these grids and all the rest of it. I don't like doing that, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so there we have that. Now, again, this is where patch matches really come into their own because, again, we can subdivide the surfaces, and secondly, it's easy to work with the vertices. So we're going to see that in action right now. So if we take this brush here, the one we want to bend, what we want to do first is press V, okay, and we bring up the vertices. And you got to be careful because if you look here where my mouse is circling, there's actually 2 there and they're overlapped. Now, normally with the the editor, you just have to click once and you can move both of them. But you find sometimes if you click one, you move it, and then there's still one sitting there. That's just because there's 2 of them overlapping. So just grab each one and pull them down. It's probably going to work the way it's supposed to right now as I illustrate. Okay, so once we have these vertices up, we can take these guys and start moving them down here. And this one here goes in the middle. And this one here goes over here. So we have that. Doesn't look like much right now. And then we have to take these middle vertices and kind of align those as well. So align them here and here. Whoops. See, there you saw it. Because there's actually 2 there. So you just have to click the second one and just move it up there too. Okay, there we go. And it's even here and even here, you can see. Take the next one here and kind of move it so it looks right. And then take this one here and kind of move it so it looks right. Okay, so we want to bring up our surface inspector next, and here's where we start to subdivide the surface here. Because you can see it's kind of jaggy, it only has 3 breaks here, or 3 segments here. We could smooth that out if I can remember how to do it. Let's see here. No. Okay, down here, subdivide patch. Just make that selected. And then we can start to mess with subdividing that. And if we keep our eye on it, well, that's not the one we want. We want to keep that one at 3. This is the one here we want, vertical. And you can see it start to smooth out. Okay, and we usually will want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 divisions within the whole thing. So end 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that just smooths it out. Again, we can go nuts. You know, we could go up to 32, but all those vertices are just killing the engine. Don't need that. Only need maybe about, well, I think I said 6, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 subdivisions within the entire thing, and that makes a nice smooth surface. And now here again, let's play with these vertices and get this to look proper here. Yeah, I see that's nice and smooth. And then this one we should kind of put work on as well. So let's just pull this guy down, select him, he turns blue. I think that's all we need is just one down. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. Okay, so let's align, let's deselect that. So let's lose the vertices. Remember to press the vertices once we have it selected. Just hit V in case I forgot to mention it. I probably did. But there it is. That's how you select the vertices. So let's deselect that whole thing. Let's get this whole sort of assembly lined up here. There we go. Looks good. Okay, now a little bit of artistry. We got to get this texture right. Now I'm going to mess with it for just a little while. If I can get it right quickly, great. If not, hey, it's up to you to play around with it. So we're going to select this guy here. Let's texture him with that. It's not quite what we want, right? Best way I find to make this texture look good is to go into Surface Inspector while selected and just hit Fit. Okay, no, I'm sorry, not fit, natural. We want it to be just a natural to get the full size of it. And then we probably want to move this down a little bit. Well, we'll bring up those other ones for reference for now, but let's just keep going. Let's grab this one here, texture it. And then again, we want to go into Surface Inspector, and we're just making it look nice. This is the real detail work. I mean, I could just slap this on and show you it's done, but we'll mess around with it a little bit because this is important. It is detail work. It does take time. I'm not going to like work my way through it unless I can get it quickly, which I probably won't be able to. Okay, and let's select this guy and Surface Inspector, and let's go natural again. Okay, there we are. So let's bring up everything back. Whoops. Everything back. Let's shift this guy up. Well, gotta hide the floor first so we can select it. There we go. Bring the floor back. Move this guy up. There we go. Okay, we can see it's kind of weird. Okay, well, here's what we'll do. We'll take this up to there. Let's move this guy up. Okay, there. You can see we kind of want this gray piece to match the size of everything else, and we got lucky there. Actually, it fit nice. Okay, so we can kind of leave that bottom alone, like it's pretty close. Okay, so that's going up to there. So here what we want to do, okay, so what we want to do here is we want to be able to shift this thing. Well, let's go natural first. Okay, there's natural. We want to shift this thing, and we do that through the shift horizontal and vertical. And how this works is this is the increment by which you're shifting it. So we could go really small here, actually 0.01. And then same thing here, 0.01. And then once we have our increment, oops, make sure there's 0.01, not 2 periods. And once we have our increment selected, this is how we go up and down on that increment. Let me just see, is that vertical? Yeah. If you look at the render window up here, it's moving. Okay, and I guess we want to kind of make that gray part disappear and kind of get it down to the line so it matches and so forth. And you go around and you make the textures fit nicely and everything else. Well, this one, I mean, it's pretty good actually. I mean, that might be okay. We're not going to mess around with you know, get it perfect because it does take some time and I don't want to burn up a lot of video time. But you can see just by patch meshing and subdividing those surfaces that you can create these elbows, and that could be 90, it could be 45, 30, whatever you want. And this is really the building block of a lot of shapes within the Doom 3 world. We can build ladders this way, we can build railings this way, and even curved hallways. And we'll probably get to that eventually in future videos. But that's the basic concept of creating those elbows. And, you know, again, those patch meshes are great because we can subdivide those surfaces and work with those vertices very easily. I think you can do that with brushes as well, but it's much harder. And this is the way id did it in their map. So hey, I'm going to stick with the experts. So thank you very much. Okay, and then to finish this, we would position it, flip it, put the little flanges in, and it's done. So we're not even going to We're not even going to need to render that or anything else, but I think you get the gist of it. One last little point here to finish off. If you do decide to build a pipe this way with an elbow and it's got that exposed surface, if you remember, patch meshes only render on one side, so you end up with this, which obviously is just weird. Well, I guess it's kind of cool, depending on what kind of drugs you're on. So how do you fix that? So let's have a quick look at how to cap that, literally. So let's grab these guys here. Let's hide everything else, just for ease here. And if we go around here on our render window, what we want to do is just select that end piece there. We want to come up to patch, and we want to look for cap. And we don't want this one, end cap. We want to come down here to cap, and then just hit that normal. And if we look, it puts a cap on it. That's going to look kind of weird, so let me just select that. Now, when you do cap something, the two little caps, it caps both ends. We can't see it, but see, here's a cap, there's the piece, and then the cap is over here. They end up being grouped automatically whenever you cap something. So we can ungroup that. So selection, and we can go here, ungroup entity, click that. Now we can see we can just grab that end cap. I just want to texture that to something different. So let's just put that gray texture on there. Okay, let's bring everything back. Right, Shift H. There we go, everything back. Kind of bumbling with the keys because this microphone on my face problem. Okay, so there we have that. Let's save it. Let's BSP. Back into the map. Title M1. There we go. Okay, so if we look here, that little end cap is there now, so that looks much better. I'm not sure why you'd want to do this. Maybe if you're doing a ship and some sort of, I don't know, what do they call that, a funnel? But that's how you put caps on there in case you do want to have an exposed surface like that. And, you know, you could texture it properly. Just a stand-in. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, or drop us a like or dislike, leave us a comment, or mash that alert button so you're notified when we post new content. Otherwise, drop by our channel for a list of all our videos. Thank you for joining me. Stay well and all the best.